If you've been scrolling through endless side-by-side comparisons, juggling suction numbers, battery life stats and smart features, and you still can't decide which robot vacuum actually makes sense for your home, this review is meant to clear the fog. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks watching the DREAME X50 Ultra go about its day in two different apartments: a compact city loft with hardwood floors and a larger suburban home with carpet, kids' toys, and a pet that sheds like crazy, so I can tell you what really matters when you press start and walk away. First off, the biggest question most people have is whether the robot's Ultra label actually translates into a noticeable difference in everyday cleaning, or if it's just marketing hype. The X50 is marketed with a 20,000 pascals suction rating, auto-empty, and a self-cleaning mop module. Those numbers sound impressive, but the real test is how it handles the kinds of messes you typically see: cereal spills on hardwood, pet hair on carpet, and the inevitable under-the-couch debris that a regular vacuum can't reach. In my real-world run-throughs, the suction power felt solid on hardwood. Dust and crumbs were drawn into the bin without the robot slowing down. On low-pile carpet, the unit kept a steady pull and didn't get stuck, though on high-pile rugs it sometimes slowed, which is something to keep in mind if you have thick rugs throughout the house. One of the standout practical strengths is the way the X50 navigates tight spaces. Using a 360-degree LiDAR system, it maps each room and remembers where walls, furniture legs, and even low-lying obstacles like shoes are placed. On both test homes, the robot reliably crossed thresholds that are typically a challenge for lower-priced models. Think the half-inch gap between the living room rug and the kitchen tile. It also handled the low-profile door sill of the front entry without tripping. For anyone who has a small dog that likes to lounge in the doorway, this feature means the robot won't constantly restart or get stuck. Cleaning under sofas is another area where the X50 shows its teeth. The robot's low profile, combined with its detangling brush, managed to pull out hair and dust that collected under the couch in a single pass. The brush design, which claims to prevent tangles, actually lived up to its promise. After a week of cleaning under a pet hair-laden sofa, the brush showed no sign of clumping or needing manual disentanglement. If you own a cat, a dog, or even just a lot of socks that hide under furniture, this is a genuine convenience. The mop module is where the X50 tries to differentiate itself from pure vacuum robots. The system is set up to spray a fine mist and then sweep the floor with a microfiber pad that automatically lifts and self-cleans after each cycle. In practice, the mop does a decent job on light kitchen spills. Think a dropped cookie or a small puddle of juice. It won't replace a dedicated wet mop for deeply soiled areas, but for daily maintenance of a hardwood floor, it does reduce the need to grab a bucket. The self-cleaning function works by flushing the pad through the robot's internal water tank, which means you don't have to pull out the pad and rinse it manually after every use. That said, if you're hoping for a set-and-forget sparkle on high-traffic entryways, you'll still need a periodic hand mop. Now let's talk about the auto-empty bin. The X50's base holds up to 0.6 L of debris, and the robot will dock and offload its internal bin automatically. This eliminates the most common annoyance of having to open a tiny dust cup after every few cleaning cycles. In my tests, the bin emptied smoothly every time, and the base's filter held up well after a month of daily runs. The only downside is that the base itself is a bit bulky, about the size of a small shoe box, so you'll need a dedicated spot on a shelf or under a cabinet, which can be a constraint in very tight apartments. Battery life is respectable but not extraordinary. On a full charge, the X50 gave me roughly 130 minutes of cleaning before returning to its dock. That's enough to cover a medium-sized home in one go, but if you have a larger floor plan, the robot will split the job into 2 or more sessions, which can extend the total cleaning time. The good news is the dock charges quickly, so you can schedule a second run later in the day without waiting too long. Who should buy this robot? If you're a busy professional who wants a set-and-forget solution for daily floor maintenance, especially on mixed floorings like hardwood and low-pile carpet, the X50's combination of strong suction, reliable navigation, and auto-empty capability makes it a solid pick. It also appeals to pet owners who need consistent hair removal and appreciate a brush that won't jam on fur. The added mop module will be a nice bonus for those who prefer a light wet clean routine without the hassle of swapping pads. Who should skip?